This is the Tech Phantom, and welcome to my very first video for Dark Souls 2. Unfortunately, I have not been able to play as much Dark Souls 2 as I would have liked, but I have a little bit of time finally, and I've taken the opportunity to get myself acquainted with the game. When I put together the videos for Dark Souls, the first few set of videos that I did were things that I found helpful for new players because the game is so challenging. So I'm going to try to do the same thing for Dark Souls 2. I will do a lore video, and I will also do a video describing the differences between Dark Souls and Dark Souls 2. But I think the initial content is going to concentrate a little bit on how to access some early weapons and some early items that can make this game a little bit easier for those of us that are just getting good with the game and good with the mechanics, because the mechanics are slightly different, in some cases quite a bit different, than Dark Souls 2. So in this video I am going to show you guys how to get access to some very powerful weapons. We are going to, in less than 25 minutes or so, we are going to get a Claymore, we are going to get a Greatsword, and we are going to get a Black Knight Halberd. Now I should point out that we're not going to get both the Claymore and the Greatsword, since you have to buy those items, but you will have the ability to buy one of those two, and the merchant that sells you the items will be open and will be available to you at any time after doing or following along with this guide. So I hope this is going to be helpful for you guys. So let's get started. I am going to be I'm going to try to describe the action on screen so you know what it is that I'm doing. First of all, we're going to pick up a torch in the beginning tutorial area. Now, a torch is not necessary, but I want you guys to have a pretty good look of where I am going. A little bit further in the video, we're going to be in an area that's pretty dark, so that's where the torch is going to come in handy. So we are going to skip the tutorial area, and we're going to try to make a beeline for the weapons. But obviously, if you guys want to take your time and go through the tutorial area a little bit more slowly, by all means do that and just follow along. The next item we're going to pick up is right here next to this tree, and it's a divine blessing. And a divine blessing does the same thing that it did in Dark Souls. It will fill up your hit points and it will cure you of all ailments. It is slower to consume than in Dark Souls, but it serves the same purpose. We are now going to talk to the Emerald Herald. This is a throwback to Demon Souls, where instead of leveling up at a bonfire like you do in Dark Souls, you actually had to talk to an NPC to level up. And in Dark Souls 2, that mechanic is back, so we will talk to a trainer to level up. The next thing we did is we found this set of stairs, stone stairs, and we are proceeding down. This is the only way to go, so it's not possible to get lost here, guys. So we're going to go down this spiral staircase, and we are going to find our first chest. Mimics are back, so be careful with chests. And in this chest we find a Crimson Parma, which is a shield. A shield is not necessary for doing this run, but in case you wanted to have a shield, we have picked up the Crimson Parma, which is not the greatest of shields, starter shields, but it will do the job. We're going to open the door, and while that happens, we're going to equip the Crimson Parma. And there is some treasure off in the distance there. It's a soul of an undead, and I think it was a broken thieves sword or something like that. And we continue forth, and we come to Heide's Tower of Flame. Now this area is reminiscent of Anorlundo. Now here, guys, because we need 13,400 souls in a little bit, we need to kill some enemies. So we need to kill these giants. And they're not very difficult. It's important that you dodge their attacks, because their attacks sweep out a very large amount of area. And there are 3 kinds of these stone giants or knights. One with a greatsword, one with an ultra greatsword, and one with this giant mace, as you can see. So we're just going to chop them down. And as you can see, I'm taking quite a bit of damage, but because I started off with the knight, which has pretty high vigor relative to the other characters, I was able to take a little bit of a hit. We picked up the Sublime Bone Dust, and we also picked up a large soul. And we are going to continue forward, and we are going to fight our first boss. Now, what I'm going to do here, guys, is a little bit tricky. I will describe it, and I will give you an alternate method if this is a little bit too difficult or intimidating for you, but it's not very difficult to do once you practice it. It's possible to make this boss fall off, and I'm sure there's many videos on YouTube showing it. Here's how I like to think about it. When the boss is as close to the edge as possible, you immediately run in front of him, and as he lunges forth with his halberd, the dragon rider will fall off to his death. So the trick is to be patient and sit in your spot right after you cross the fog gate until the boss is right at the very edge of the arena, and as soon as he's there, run across him and he will fall off. If you do it too early, he will not fall off. If you do it too late, you will fall off, or he will push you off. So you do have to practice the timing, but like I said, it didn't take me very long to do this and learn how to do it before I felt comfortable with this method. Now, if this is too difficult for you, or if you would rather fight the boss and not cheese him and make him fall off, you can do what I'm doing here after finishing the first boss of the game, which is the last giant. So you will have enough souls to buy a ring, which is what we really need. So I just decided to cheese the Dragon Rider boss to get the 13,400 souls that I need to buy from this cat. But if you want to buy the cat ring, the silver, I think it's called the silver cat ring, which will mitigate fall damage, you can also buy the ring after fighting the last giant, and with the souls that you get from the fight, and with the souls that you get from consuming his soul, you should be able to have enough souls to buy the ring. Alright, so this is one of my least favorite parts of the run. I normally die here a couple of times, and this is the trickiest part. It's sort of a blind jump. You need to get a running start, and you need to run off to the edge, and you land on this platform. Now, I actually think that it's more consistent to go up to the edge and do a jumping attack, and you will fall onto this platform as well if you angle the camera properly. So I've actually started doing that on my later runs as opposed to doing the running jump, because the running jump is for me is a little bit difficult, and it's not as consistent as doing the jumping attack. So there's two methods for you to try. So we're just going to keep falling down, and we get a ring of the evil eye +1, which is a better item than what Shelquar or the cat was selling. She was selling a ring of the evil eye, but we have a ring of the evil eye +1, and we are going to continue forward. We are going to fall off here to our right, and we are going to immediately roll, because these enemies will rush at you, will dive at you, and they will explode. And we actually have enough life that we can take one hit. But if they do come at you and they rush at you, go ahead and roll, and that will give you some invincibility frames, and hopefully you will not be hurt by the area of effect from their explosion. Okay, so we're gonna continue forward, and we're in the gutter, and this is a pretty nasty area, but I'm gonna show you guys how to get down to the bottom very, very quickly. And you saw that I found the first bonfire really quickly. Now this might take you a little bit longer to memorize. I am actually going to use a torch that I picked up earlier to light the way, so you guys can see a little bit better the way. When I was first practicing this, I think it took me about, I don't know, an hour before I could do this without a torch. But I wanted to use the torch, and I wanted to make sure that you guys could see the way forth a little bit. So we want to go straight, and there is going to be a pretty strong enemy here, so we want to roll past them, continue, go through this area here, and you see a bonfire off in the distance or a light off in the distance. You want to make a jump, but you want to jump straight. You don't want to jump off to the left like I did. We are going to have to make 2 jumps to get down to the bottom, so you know that's something that you just have to do. So let's try it again. Again, I'm going to use the torch. The torch is not necessary. I'm just using it so that you guys could see a little bit better the way that I'm going, but you actually could see fine without a torch if you know the way. You cannot walk through this course. You do want to run through here, otherwise you might get surrounded. So let's try the jump again. And we got poisoned, but that's okay because we do have a divine blessing, and in addition to that, we have poison moss that we picked up earlier. So this is going to give us at least 4 tries to make it down to the bottom. All right, so here there's another jump that you need to make, and on this one it's a little bit more difficult, but after a couple of tries, hopefully you'll be able to make it. And we found our second bonfire, so this is a pretty big milestone here. We're almost to the item that we need. We are going to break through this wooden wall, and we are going to take this ladder all the way down to the bottom. Okay, we're going to land on a platform. There's going to be another ladder. At the bottom of this ladder, there is going to be an ambush. So you want to immediately roll when you hit the ground. So immediately roll, turn the camera around, and you'll see a bunch of pots. You want to break through those, and you land down in this area, and we pick up the fragrant branch of yore. Now, this is why we came all the way down here, because this item, this branch, will heal NPCs of petrification status. And you guys are gonna see, if you're familiar with the game, you probably know where this item comes in handy. But now that we found the bonfire in Black Gulch, let's go back to Majula. Now I'm gonna go ahead and make myself human so that you could see my character a little bit. By the way, this is now my new favorite character. All of my characters are going to be like this. I'm a little disappointed that the same hairstyles that were in Dark Souls are not available in Dark Souls 2. I really don't like any of the hairstyles. So my new characters are all going to be bold females. But I do like the color and the alien look. So all of my characters are going to be like this. And I think for videos they work really well because in human form they stand out pretty well, and you guys are able to see them fairly well. Alright, so we're going to go past Bernhard of Yugo, and we are here and we see Rosabeth, who is petrified, and we use the fragrant branch of Yor to cure her, and that allows us to pull this lever. Now I made a mistake, guys, and I'm gonna pay for that, but when you pull the lever, these enemies ambush you. They come from the lower levels and the higher levels. Now one thing that I made two mistakes. The first mistake is that I didn't put my armor, so I don't have as much poison resistance. The second mistake that I did is that there were a couple of doors on the lower floor with those enemies that I could have killed beforehand. So let's try this again. Get ourselves human and get to the bonfire so that we fill up our health. And this time I'm going to put on a little bit of armor so I have a little bit more poison resistance. So this is not a very difficult run, guys. I think if you practice in one sitting, couple hours, 2-3 hours, something like that, you will be able to do it. If you don't want to cheese the Dragon Rider, you don't have to. You can kill the first boss, the last giant, and you should have enough souls to be able to buy the ring. So you can pick it up at the point where I went back to Majula and bought the Silver Cat. I think it's called the Silver Cat ring. I bought the ring from the cat. Alright, so let's try this again. So before I pull the lever, this time I'm going to kill these enemies that are behind the doors here in the lower level. And this is where being the knight class really helps, because the knight's initial equipment is a broadsword, which does a decent amount of damage with two hands, and he also has the highest amount of hit points. His vigor is at 14. Alright, so I've killed those two enemies. Now I can trip the lever again, and this time I will be ambushed by 4 of these enemies instead of 6, so it'll be easier to run laps around them. Now you only need to run 1 lap around them, and then you should be able to get through the door. Just wait by the door. I like to do 2 laps because that is going to get this basilisk out of the way, and by the time you come up to the second door, it's going to be up and should be able to go forth. So normally this area is not accessible, or I guess the shaded woods is not supposed to be accessible until later on in the game, but we have opened it up, and this is where we have a lot of advanced items. There are some good weapons here, there are some good items, there are some good sorceries as well here. So you can pick up a red tearstone ring, you can pick up a Chloranthy ring +1, you can pick up the old sun ring, you can pick up a lot of stuff. So If you're not interested in weapons, you can use this strategy to get yourself some items that will help you at the beginning of the game. Alright, so we found the first bonfire, we went up the stairs, and you want to look for the foggy area. And here, you want to walk, you don't want to run, you want to walk and hug the left side of the path. If you run, you will make noise, and there's a higher likelihood that some invisible crossbow guys will follow you and will kill you. You can take them even at this level with the broadsword, but it'll be pretty difficult to do. But if you walk, I've never had an instance where they followed me here. So we found an NPC.
Long ago.
And this is the head of Vangarl.
I know not.
And this is a pretty cool NPC. And he sells both the Claymore and the Greatsword. And we have enough souls that we can buy either one. I'm going to buy the Claymore, but like I said, you can buy the Claymore, you can buy the Greatsword, you can come back and buy both items from him if you want. If you keep talking to him, and by the way, this is the case with a lot of the NPCs in Dark Souls 2, he will give you an item. He actually gives you his headpiece, and this is one of the best headpieces in the game. It has very, very high defenses and resistances for its weight. And I actually think that it looks pretty cool, so let's put it on. First of all, let's grab our Claymore. And there's the helm of Bengarl. So anyway, in Dark Souls 2, just a reminder, you do want to talk, you want to exhaust the NPC's dialogue, because in a lot of cases they will give you items when you do that. So don't forget to speak. Alright, so we're going to continue off, and again, when we exit the area that Bengarl was in, we're going to continue hugging the path to our left. Just continue hugging the path to our left. And I think you can run here, but I'm just trying to be careful here and walk and make as little noise as possible. And we finally find the stairs that lead up and out of the fog. And there's a ramp here, and then there's another ramp, and underneath this ramp is a bonfire. So we have found the bonfire. Now let's go pick up the Black Knight Halberd. You need to make 2 jumps. You need to make a jump here onto this bridge, and then you need to make another jump to go into this little room here. And this iron chest has the Black Knight Halberd. Now the Black Knight Halberd is a dex weapon, the Claymore is a quality weapon, and the Greatsword is a more or less strength weapon. So hopefully this will allow you to pick and choose whatever will, I guess, suit you best. If you want a big strength weapon, a heavy dex weapon, or if you want more of a lighter quality weapon. And now you also have a cool decapitate gesture for early game. Alright guys, I hope you guys have enjoyed this.